I'll do it.
All right. And hello, world, and welcome to IBM TV World News. I'm your host, Kimberly Calhoun, and with us, as well as my co-host, Ankit. He is also our senior executive producer of our health channel. Welcome, Ankit. Namaste.
Morning
Ankit.
to
Hello. All right. Sometimes we have some slowness and technical difficulties as we are witnessing on the network stations as well. We are web TV. Before we get started today, folks, I'm going to get on my soapbox just a little bit, then I'm going to hand things over to Ankit because he has a much more positive attitude than I do. But I'm going to share with the world my disappointment in my own country right now. I yesterday spent a good portion of my day looking at social media, which I should have shut off. And instead of talking about solutions, supporting the real masked heroes, which are the doctors and the scientists who are trying to support us, here in America, we are still debating politics, pointing fingers. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. Folks, get over them. Reset the button and get humans in office. They don't care about you. While this was going on, some of them were dumping their stocks, causing a financial crisis at the stock markets. We are in this boat together as humans. We see what other countries are doing. India has joined together. They've clapped their hands. Of course, they have those who are doubters and doing their own thing. We've seen what Australia is doing. I'm constantly looking at Australia because it seems like whatever happens there, 2 weeks later, we're dealing with. But people, I reflect on 9/11. We all pulled together. We didn't pull apart. It didn't matter what our president said or our leader said. We got together and we stood together. And we are faced in a world crisis. People are dying in Italy. There was a time and day when we would stand together and we would go to Italy together and help save them. Then while saving them, we might find our cure. Now, of course, we couldn't have gone in to help China because there's just too many political barriers. But we could have stepped up to the plate and said, what can we do to help? And maybe we were. Maybe China says, we got this. But China learned the hard way. They came down. Now they're coming back up. But we can learn from each other, people. We need to take away the borders and we need to build the bridges. We need to learn and understand what's happening in other countries like we've been doing on this show. I don't mean to be such a Debbie Downer, as they call it, or negative. I want to build this to positive, and that's what we were doing all week and weekend. We were talking about the things we could do after, but you know what? I don't see an after. I see us putting false, we talk about our Bibles. Read your stories. False gods, Democrats, Republicans. You wave their flags, not God's, in your yard. You defend them. Come on, people. Get back to some basics. 9/11, we pulled together. Katrina, we kind of fell apart. We didn't have an emergency preparedness team really together. We had one, but we got rid of them for some reason. But it doesn't mean we all can't be prepared. But this is not a Democratic or Republican problem. This is real people we're talking about, real lives. And we're going to have to rebuild afterwards. So reset that button. And if you believe your Bible stories, when we fought like this, God separated us. If you believe in your Bible. Go look at it. He turned us into how many different languages? All right. I'm not a 100% Bible person. There are stories in history for us to learn from. But we need to get together. This is not Democrat. This is not Republican. This is human. Let's reset that button. I'm not voting for any of them. I don't know about you guys. And if you can continue fighting over them, I'm going to remove that from my social media because they are not who's saving us. Just like that man got on there and said, we are here because of this. I had the disease. I took the malaria drug, and he thanks President Trump for it. You don't thank President Trump for that. You thank your doctors for keeping you alive until you got that drug. President Trump hasn't signed off to have that drug given to everybody that has the sickness. The doctors, the lab technicians got this for us. And we need to bring this back. And we need to start talking about the healthy things we need in this country. And I hate that I lost Ankit. I hope he didn't leave me because he's upset at me for doing this. But people, we need to come together. We don't need to be fighting amongst ourselves. We need to be pulling together. If this is a test of our strengths to pull together, we are failing. There was a time and day that we would pull together and go to Italy and save those people, and we're not. We could learn from that. We could go over there, help save them, and learn. We're not doing it. We're worried about our finances. I am too. Right now, I'm worried about living in the state of our health. So let's bring on board some happiness and bring on board Willie, who's always made me smile every day, and Sasha. Namaste.
Good morning. Namaste. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. You know, I'm not going to really apologize for my behavior. I feel like the world needs to be slapped a little bit because there was a time and day that the United States would pull together and do something. And instead, we're fighting amongst each other while everybody's dying. And this is not acceptable behavior to me. It's very unacceptable. We have people who don't believe what's going on. In my mind, if I'm taking the extreme measures like Singapore did and just shut everything. Namaste, Ankit.
Good morning to everyone.
I think Ankit ran when I got on my soapbox. So I wear my red jacket today because years ago, my engineer said, oh, we know when you're upset because when you come in with your red jacket on, you're coming down. So I intentionally grabbed my red jacket today.
The red color suits you.
Oh,
I think it's a lucky color for you as well.
Thank you. It doesn't mean I'm Republican, people.
No.
No. I'm just saying, people in the United States who do that. It means I grabbed it on purpose today because, and I used to not do it on purpose. I wasn't thinking I would grab it, but I'm telling people we need to set aside our differences. We need to quit being politicians. That man who got that malaria drug and he recovered, if that's the truth, it wasn't Trump. It was the lab technicians that worked tirelessly to find out that drug happened. He shouldn't have been out there touting Trump and trying to promote Trump back to office because Trump hasn't signed off on that drug yet in this United States. That man had to sign a waiver that he was giving up his life. So if that's a true story, he's the biggest BSer I've ever seen in my life because quite frankly, it's the doctors that saved him, that kept him alive until he got that. And we need to get back to that. Yeah. Our doctors are our heroes, people. They are our caped, masked defenders right now, and they're dying. Why are they dying? Because we didn't listen. When we got sick with the fever, we ran to them. When they said, no, stay home. So we need to start listening to our doctors. Dr. Sagu comes on every day. He tells us what we need to be doing, right? We've had other doctors that come on and they tell us all the same thing. Don't come and make us sick. Keep us alive so that we can continue doing our jobs to help you. Scientists have been working tirelessly to find a solution. So I'm going to drop off my soapbox now that I have my team together, our team, not even mine, our team. Willie is from Australia. He is going to be the executive producer of Startup Masters channel. That's going to be where we talk about what you can do, AC, after Corona, and what we could do to build businesses and rebuild your finances for businesses and how to move forward. We're going to start a small class. And then Willie's going to be able to go on his time zone rather than coming on ours because it's 1 o'clock. Good morning, Willie.
Good morning. And how are we this morning?
Fine. It's early morning for you, isn't it?
It is. It's 1 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for helping us do this and give the stats in Australia. Sasha is from Canada, but he's also from Russia. But he also brings his worldly wisdom from his travels, what people are doing in other places. He's reading us letters from very reliable resources who are surviving this storm. Sasha, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Kim.
And you know what? I think that together as a team, we are bringing a sound, reliable solutions. Ankit is from India. He works tirelessly with me every day on tools that we can improve to use. When we hang up, he goes right to work and helps me configure things so that we can make this happen better every day. How are things in India, Ankit?
Things are, things are a little tight, and we are just urging everyone to stay at home because, it's difficult for us as people to let them know that it's not for you, no, not for you, but for the world. And we have to stay at home. That's the only help you can do at this point of time. And moreover, there are a lot of celebrities and influencers in India who are posting a lot of videos for the community to urge them to stay at home. Because I don't know why. Everyone wants to work now, and that is where we have more cases lined up, and we have some news from some community that they have some community spread going around in some part of the countries, but we are not reporting those cases as of now. So let's see. I hope there would not be more cases, but from yesterday we are also have tremendous amount of increase in number of cases reported. So at around 15 minutes from now, we have a prime minister doing the press conference, or he's doing something for the nation, basically a nation talk where he'll explain that what we can do and how we can do and what is the economic package, what they can offer. Because there was a finance minister a couple of hours back. They proposed a lot of financial aspects, and they have postponed a lot of deadlines of the tax plays and all those things, basically. So we are all waiting for 8 p.m. so that the Prime Minister will start messaging the country.
Let me ask you this. When the Prime Minister speaks, what is the reception of the people in India?
Almost 70% of the India, more than 70% of the Indians, they listen to the Prime Minister. They just listen, and then if they want to inherit or if they want to follow something, they do it. Otherwise, they have their own option. Because like you have Republicans and Democrats, we also have a lot of parties. So based on those parties, activities people follow. But generally, most of the parties are still on the same platform. Couple of them are still, making no sense to anyone, and then they are blaming that we don't have the resources, that we don't have that, and all those things. But no one is on ground zero and helping the people. But a lot of people from the business world and from the social responsibility, basically CSR world, they are coming out and helping people. I told you about Sikhism. So Sikhism is having a temple which is known as Gurdwara, and they are doing free lunches and dinners and breakfast for everyone. So anyone can go and have those things, and they're supplying to their houses as well. They are distributing masks as well. So it's one of the biggest organizations in the world, and they do these services in US as well, not in India, in US generally. So now they are doing it extra with supplying at their houses without someone will go out.
So this brings people together, unity, and allows us to pray together, to pull our inner soul and strengths and spirits together to inspire the power of positive thinking, right? And when we pull together, we're taught in our history books, I don't know about you, but an entity that is divided will fail, right?
Obviously.
Right.
Obviously.
David and Goliath. David was very small. It doesn't take anything very big to bring down a giant, right? It could be as small as a micro disease to bring down a giant. Okay. And we need to come back to our faith. Our faith will bring us back our trust. Right now, we need to be in that mode of trust no one, don't get near them, right?
Yeah.
I call it TNO, trust no one right now. They might have the infection. If you self-contained a few weeks ago, like some of us have, you
Yeah.
already kind of know what your internal environment is, and you know how to trust it.
True.
So Willie, Ankit's going to show us the world news. But seeing how you're up at 1 a.m, and I know you want to go, but you'll stay with us to have a conversation. But share with us what's going on in Australia.
Okay, I'll just get us an update.
Can you share the screen? Do you have a screen?
I don't have the control.
Okay.
Okay.
Ankit's going to have.
Okay. I just did some stats that I picked up earlier on. ACT's got 39. New South Wales numbers have increased. It's almost 1,000 now. It's 913. Victoria has 411. A week ago, maybe 10 days ago, it was 111. So we've gone up 300. And that's a lot. Total cases in Australia is 2,136. And we've had 8 deaths. So that's the update so far.
What are they doing in Australia right now? Because I learn a lot from your country of what's happening.
So in Australia, we've got the 6 states. So very central to Australia is South Australia. South Australia and the Northern Territory, they're sort of in the middle. We've got Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria on the east side, and WA by itself on the west. So most of the logistics of transport travels through South Australia. They've closed their borders, and they've told anybody coming through, to be able to gain entry into South Australia, you need to self-isolate.
And I think also Tasmania as well. I think at the Hobart and Tasmania level as well, the people coming from Tasmania to Melbourne, they have to quarantine for 15 days.
Yes. So that's the people from outside going into South Australia. And if they don't accept that condition, they refuse entry at the border. They're told to go back. And the same coming from the other side, from WA, Western Australia, from Perth. They told at the border, this is the condition you're entering. If you don't want to abide by these conditions, turn back and go back. And that's enforced by the police. So that's what's happening at the moment. The borders are closed. That's South Australian border. South Australia is pivotal to all of Australia because everything going east or west goes through South Australia.
So and people don't get it. I don't know if they think they're immune because we've survived so many viruses and diseases. So many people go, everyone's dying from the flu every day. So this is nothing more than the flu. I get angry and then they cut me off of Facebook. But that's fine because I don't want to be friends with people who are not taking this serious. You're not my friend if you're not trying to protect yourself or protect me from this as well.
Absolutely.
What is your feelings right now there in Australia about all of this? How do you feel about it? Do you feel like your country's doing the best they can?
They are, and personally, what I'm seeing with people around, so my contract's still enforced, that I have to go to work, but I don't see these people at work really serious about enforcing the social distancing, enforcing the close contact, and the way we work. So, okay, we have a meeting and everybody has to sign off, and they pass this piece of paper around. I said, no, that's not how we do it. You're supposed to have no contact with each other. Okay, we all come to this meeting, get your own pen, get your own tools, and just sign off on it, but no sharing.
Exactly. Or do like I do when I exchange money, right? I use my wipe.
Yes.
And if I have to exchange, this is what I've been doing for a while. And the guys at the store started laughing, but I wiped my dollar bill down because to me, this is the biggest trend. This is the dirtiest thing in the world. It is filthy. I can't
And
wash. Nick has offered if you send your money, then he'll clean it for you.
I
I
think we
know
should
it's
use the
hard.
hand gloves basically. We should use the hand gloves and make it wash every day.
That's
Absolutely.
That's
right.
Absolutely.
if you want to go
Exactly.
out. That is what you need to do right now.
And
And
Aunt Kit showed us
the
how
other
to.
thing beside the money is the hands.
Yeah.
You know, you need hands to hold on to the money. So this also needs to be sanitized.
You know, this right here, we put this to our face every day.
Yeah.
Even if you have headsets, you sometimes accidentally do this. Fortunately for my phone, it hasn't been anywhere for 2 weeks but the house. So,
Yeah.
you know, my germs are the only thing it's getting. But you know, Dr. Galate shared with us there are things we aren't thinking about, like when we go out and we come in, we bring it on our shoes. You know, let's do this. Let's talk. No, don't do this. It's on your clothes. We need to take off our clothes at the door. We need to cleanse our clothes or leave them at the door. And I don't, you know, I saw a woman wearing a shower cap over her hair when she went to work, and everybody was laughing at her. Our hair can be the biggest transmitter. And Ankit, you brought this up. What about our
Yeah.
blankets right there on your
Yeah.
face?
True.
I don't
Because
think wash your.
yeah, whenever we wash our hairs, you find that you feel good once you wash the hairs. In general life as well. But while these kind of viruses going around, we have to be very careful about our each and every body organs, be it hair, be it eyes. And if we are not taking right care, I mean, you might be the carrier basically. So if you are not happy with your life, that is not a problem. But you have to take care of others' life as well. I mean, it's not about you now; it's about us, and that's what people are not able to understand. Because if we don't do anything for us right now, you can't do anything for yourself. And this is like a blockchain where it's affecting around the world. It started from a province in Wuhan, and now it reaches to an island in Tasmania, which is like 1,000 kilometers away from Wuhan. But you know that how the people to people contact started, and within 3 months, it spread around 160 countries around the world, and people are in panic. I was on the street in the morning to buy some groceries and all, and the streets were empty. The police was in total control and taking care of the situation. And we have a forceful curfew since today, 6 a.m. in Delhi and lot of states in India. And that means that we can't stand for in a group of more than four. And also the shop will open for limited period of time. And so these kind of situations, I mean, make you realize that there is something which is coming up, and it could burst at any point of time. So for to save your family and for your neighborhood and your country, you have to stay at home. That is what you can do, and try to wash your hands and try to clean and sanitize your house and surroundings. And that is what you can do at this point of time, because rest of the things will be done by the god in the white coats, which they are doing it. I've seen a lot of pictures from different parts of the country where the medical staff, they were using the mask, which is an airtight mask. So they have a lot of scars and a lot of scratches on their faces, because they have to wear that mask for around 10, 12, 15 hours as they're working double shift. And so they are doing a lot of things for our country and for our nation and for our world. And we have to salute them and stay focused and stay calm, and don't be panic. We will overcome the situation sitting at home. So
Exactly. And I think that's something that we need to get back down to is stay at home. Let's spend 4 weeks in the whole world, stay at home. You know, because if we don't, we're not going to get in control of this. There are places that they don't have the test kits. Willie, you
yeah,
mentioned something about, you know, 10 days ago, this wasn't like this, but let me explain something to people. It takes 10 days to get the results back from the test we're using today. So
Absolutely.
the results we're hearing today were 10 days ago. They're not accurate except for the death.
Yes.
The death results are accurate. But
Yeah.
and you know, if a politician looks like they're predicting because they say, well, in 10 more days we're going to see this, that's because they know how many test kits they gave out. But now we don't have enough test kits. So we have no real count. It's out of control. New York, they estimated over 20,000 people would have it. They estimated. I feel like in 10 days, it's going to be 100,000. If you do the math, if you sit down and do the math, at the accumulated rate of people who touch people, it might be over 100. But we have doctors that have been coming on board. All they've told us is that the real thing is distancing, and we haven't been doing that. We don't even do that on the roads when we're driving. We all tailgate anyway. We don't know how to distance. But honestly, people, all you have to do is just stay put. Let us get this under control and save our doctors at this moment, people. Our doctors, we're not giving them the opportunity to heal us. We're rushing in when we're all sick instead of letting. And now the doctors are dying. We're hearing reports of the doctor. These are our mass defenders. These are our real heroes. And instead of going in, stay home and phone in. Right? Doctors want you to stay home and phone in. Right now, they can't treat the people who need their daily treatments anyway. They're telling us, people who need monthly treatments, we can't bring you in right now. But we don't want anyone coming in with a fever. By then, it's too late. We can't treat you anyway if you have the flu. If you have respiratory issues, we'll arrange for something. But stay home. Don't spread it. If you just had the flu, you just spread the flu. I mean, people's minds have gone a little bit self-entitled and crazy. But I've heard many people go, oh, we know the rules. Stay at home and deal with it. And if you get a fever, run to the doctor. And I'm like, that's not the last rule I read on CDC. So I think it's because we've practiced that habit. We're getting worse. Italy's in a bad state. They're throwing in the towel. The nurses and doctors are dying. They had sent letters to us instead of going to their aid and maybe learning from them. We let them die. We didn't go to their aid. We didn't send people who were probably equipped to be able to be safe from the disease to help them. Instead, we stayed here. All we're doing is fighting over our finances. I think this is a reset button. We read about it in our history books. That when you are divided, you will be conquered. I don't know about you guys, but our country is divided. We can't think past a Democrat and a Republican right now. So I don't foresee anything happening unless the lab technicians do it on their own. And people just sign off and say, I'm willing to take the rest, to take that, because my politicians can't come together to find my safety and my health. But let's take a look, Sasha. What's happening in Canada?
Okay, I'll read to you a very interesting article that was published. I'm not going to read the whole article, of course, but I will read something important about what's happening in Canada compared to US. It's very interesting differences between the way two countries, which are very close and very similar in many respects to each other, how they are dealing with this. The article was published in the biggest Canadian newspaper, Toronto Star, and it's by Tony Berman, very respected journalist who's regularly published his thoughts in Toronto Star and elsewhere. Here we go. Let me start here. As this new global COVID-19 pandemic worsens in the weeks ahead and threatens to completely overwhelm our medical facilities and personnel, which cherished family members in our loving families should we or our doctors select to die? Should it be our grandmother or grandfather who is weaker? How about our elderly parents? Who is more vulnerable? It's a horrific questions, all of them. Or our children, in a period of rationed medical care, who among them should live or die? Horrific choices, of course. But we should prepare to make them if we as society aren't ready to make the sacrifices necessary to avoid the worst of this pandemic. Already in various parts of the world, such as Italy, China, and Iran, precious family members are dying because life or death decisions need to be made. In Canada, this fateful moment is not imminent since our medical system appears to be prepared for the threat of the virus. Depending on how bad it gets, at least that is the hope. But the same cannot be said for the United States, and its crisis may be contagious. Led by a president who has been ignorant, self serving, and criminally negligent in preparing his country in this crisis, America is on the brink of a catastrophe. By the way, yesterday I was listening to uh, Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, and he's saying that um, they need, I believe, 30 or 40 actually thousand ventilators. And he said, unless they will get them in 10 days, people will start dying simply because there is no access to the ventilators. And he discussed it with administration, including Mike Pence and, of course, Donald Trump. And they're saying that the big corporations like GE and others, they're going to make these ventilators anyway. So why? Because Coma suggested that it will be like a military situation where the government just make orders. This factory produce so many ventilators in so much time, or so on. And they're denying that possibility simply by saying that the corporations will make them anyway. But see, in this extraordinary situation, all has to be centralized and managed from the top down. You cannot say, okay, you produce so many ventilators and make them by the end of July or the mid-May or whatever. It has to be all centralized and managed, and that's not happening. They're talking about all kind of financial packages, $2 trillion, $5 trillion, $55 trillion, but people are dying simply because there is a lack of ventilators. It's just as simple as that. And this is really worrisome when you're talking about coordination between people, businesses, and government. I think government, at least in the United States, in my opinion, is not doing its job.
I think the government needs to start building bridges and not walls, and we need to start coming together. And Sasha, thank you very much for sharing that, because that's the way the world sees us today. Italy is dying. I read somewhere that they're right at 70,000 contagious, 7,000 close to 7,000 deaths as of today. That's 10% of the population in 5 weeks. I mean, not 10% of the population, but if you look at 10% of the contagious, we know that the contagious data is wrong by 10 days. So take whatever they are showing today and probably multiply it by 10 or close, and that's what you're going to have in 10 more days. Ankit, why don't you share with us the stats of the world?
Yeah, so you have to allow the screen. I don't have the control today.
Oh, you didn't dial in? I'll get that fixed. We're slowly fixing this, folks. Where's my water? Okay, go ahead.
So yesterday while we were talking, we started the show, we were at around 15,000 deaths, and while ending the show, we were at around 16,000 deaths, and today we have 17,235 deaths around the world, and the cases are also growing since yesterday, and you can see that around 12,000 of them are serious or critical, and those numbers are shifting from here to the death side. And mild condition is also shifting from here to the recovery stage. So people who are on ventilators or maybe who are not on ventilators and they are serious, so they are on this particular area, which we have to closely monitor. And if I break up the country wise, so we are getting feed from China as well that they have more cases every day and 7 new deaths since yesterday. Italy is around 6,000 and we are not getting any news from Italy. USA is growing. It's growing at a very fast pace with more than 2,000 new cases and around 582 deaths so far, including 29 new deaths. Spain is with Spain is also having around 2,500 to 3,000 new cases every day reported, and around 300 people have died on an average on a day. But today we have 385 deaths with 2,696 the total count of deaths. Germany is also struggling with the coronavirus spread, and I mean, I believe that it started with Italy and it's affecting the whole Europe. So Germany is also with more than 2,000 cases reported and 9 new deaths with 132 tours. Iran is was also one of the countries which is struggling to fight with coronavirus. Same goes with France. We don't have the report from France. I mean, Switzerland is going with 300 new cases every day. Korea, we have 76 new cases with 9 deaths so far. UK, the numbers are not coming, but I spoke to someone in UK today, and they told me that UK has been completely lockdown mode, and I think because of the lockdown mode, they are trying to, I mean, make the things a little easy for them, and that's why we are not getting numbered. But it's good that some countries are following the lockdown rule, like UK, France, Italy. That's why the numbers are not growing. We have to follow the same process in our countries as well. Because I was reading about South Korea, and people wanted to know that South Korea's case study to fight with corona is very good, but they are working regularly. They are just taking all the precautions. They are at work. So I think, I mean, this might be a case. I think we can stop our work for a couple of weeks and then we can resume it. I mean, if we have a good health and welfare. Uh, so this is all European countries where cases are growing around 400, 500 every day, and then we have deaths so far. Netherlands with 63 deaths and 276 is the number right now. Same goes with Austria, Belgium, Norway, Portugal. So you name a country and they have the coronavirus spread. So that's why we are urging everyone to stay at home and try to work from home and I mean live a good life with the family. I mean there is no point of going out right now. Australia really told us that they are also having a tough time, but the cases are growing in Australia with total 8 deaths so far, with 1 new death, and 2,000 people have been reported with the virus. But there are more people who are quarantined at this point of time. We don't have the quarantine number. We just have the cases who have reported and who are in the treatment. Canada, we have around 2,000 cases with 24 deaths, and we are not getting numbers. So I think Canada is also completely locked down. What do you think, Sasha, about Canada? We are not getting numbers from Canada.
In Canada,
Yeah.
um, just a sec.
Do you have anything from Canada? Because we don't have any numbers. I mean, is it the countries in lockdown mode? How's the regular day-to-day routine at Canada right now?
Okay, in Canada, people are very closely watching the numbers, and because it's relatively small, a country, not by territory but by population for sure, we have
Yeah.
only say 36 million people, and so every new case, never mind death, uh, is like a big national tragedy, and well, as you know, the prime minister now is in quarantine, Mr. Trudeau. His wife got contagious, and so she's, of course, in isolation. And he's very, very close to order complete closure of all Canada. Well, schools are closed, of course, and many other places, but he's very close to say to invoke national emergency powers. So this is a situation what we're looking, and I wish he would already done it. I really don't understand why he's not doing that right now. What has to happen for him to finally move on? I'm wondering, because okay, numbers, you may say that it's contained, but every day there are new and new numbers, and both people contagious and people who unfortunately passed away from the coronavirus. And I'm just wondering what has to happen for him to move on.
Great. I think, I mean, we are happy to see if there are all numbers become zero basically, because that is what we are eyeing on. We don't want to share the numbers to create more panic, but it's just that the numbers will also give you an idea that the numbers are growing because the people are on streets right now. So I think we have to sit back and relax. Right now, our Prime Minister of India is, I mean, giving the message to the nation, and then India is in complete lockdown mode for next 3 weeks. So the total of India is shut down for next 3 weeks, 21 days. So there is no work. That's what the address is going on right now. So that is what we have to do around the world, and that then only we can save our life. Because if we don't take our life seriously, I mean, we are not doing good for the humanity. And if again go back to the numbers of Brazil, so initially last week there were no numbers from South America, but now we have the virus spreading in South America as well. So Brazil is having around 2,000 cases with 41 new cases and 34 deaths so far. Israel is also having some cases of corona. Malaysia is also reporting 100 plus cases every day, and same goes with Czechoslovakia and Japan. So Japan have postponed the Olympics, and they have urged the Olympic Committee to postpone it for next summer, which is summer 2021. So that's a big news for the world.
Yeah,
And then,
very, very reluctant to do so, but they had no choice.
but I think Canada took a good step, because the Canada is the first country who stepped down from the Olympics, and then the Australia followed up, and that's why they have to decide that they can't do the Olympics if a lot of the countries will step down.
Yeah.
I
So
would like to hear some news from maybe Japan, Brazil.
yeah.
We're not getting a lot of calls in from the Latin American side of the world. It would be good. Japan, I know they have very strict disciplines, but it would be good to hear from them. They have some really good extreme research labs. I've worked with them for 5 years. Oh, Sasha.
Well, speaking about Latin America and particularly Brazil, of course, very recently I was there 3 days in Rio and Santa, São Paulo, Boagis, and a couple of other places, smaller places. Uh, Speaking about Rio, it's a very special case. Never mind São Paulo, which has population of say 24 million people. It's almost like 2/3 of Canada just in one city. Rio de Janeiro is not much smaller. It's probably about 18 million people. Now, don't forget in Rio de Janeiro, what I've seen, a lot of people live in favelas, which is, well, you know what I'm talking about. And there's no way that people can be tested there. There's no way that their numbers, whatever they are published here, they have any validity at all. However, I really hope that they will contain it, because if that will start spreading there, we're looking at a catastrophic consequence. It's just unheard of. Very interesting. I'm talking to our friends in Israel. The moment, very few people know about that, the moment that this story became widely known, well before that, actually, should I say, they mobilized armed forces. They put them in in a top condition to act, and they really monitor anybody, whoever leaves their apartments to go even to buy food or so on. They can be stopped at any time, and they have to explain where are you going, from where are you going, and what are you planning to do, and so on. So I'm not sure by numbers, but I think from what I've seen before, I think they are doing a pretty good job of containing that.
Great. So, so we have a news from India. I'll repeat again that we are locked down for 21 days. The Prime Minister urges everyone to stay at home for next 3 weeks. So, Kim, our president just announced that we have been locked down for 21 days. So, 21 days,
21 days, that's
will be at
3 weeks.
home, 3 weeks,
3
and
weeks.
then if I'll give you the numbers, so around 800, more than 800 million people will be at home.
Wow. But you know what? 3 weeks, it seems like, but well, I work at home, but it seems like when I wake up Monday, Friday, when I go to bed Monday, it's Friday when I
Yeah.
wake up, right? It just stay busy, clean your house. I guarantee you in 3 weeks, you're going to go, I wish I had done. I'm serious, people. I used to work and volunteer my time with people who were laid off from work. And yeah, get your financials in place. Some of us can't afford to live because we live, day by day or week by paycheck. But use that time to do some things you always said I would have done. Because those are the moments you're going to regret the most. You're going to regret not getting some of those things done. And I tell these people this all the time. And everyone who has taken that advice, they've appreciated it. They are thankful that they did a few more extra things with their family and they waited it out a little bit. Of course, they might have struggled a little bit, maybe were late with their rent. But I guarantee you, even if the banking industry would just be patient with some people, they'll get caught back up. But what the banking industry does is if you call them and you go, I got laid off from work. I'm going to be a little late with my payment, but give me some time. Instead of helping them, they go up on their interest rate and make them a high risk. And then they lose the credit cards and they lose this. And I know because I've been down this road before. And so they're not ones to really be generous and help us. And that's what, if the government wants to help us financially, talk to the banks about not foreclosing on everyone right now, give everyone a chance to rebuild and get their jobs. They need to be too. Okay, what are we hearing? I'm hearing a protest.
No.
Oh, Andy, you need to share. I hear a protest.
No. So it's not a protest. It's the clap which people are urging. Yeah.
And maybe we can do something on our social media. Get everyone worldwide in social media to say one word, or to do something on social media.
We can do a digital flash mob.
Yeah, and we'll just every week or every day we'll wake up at 10 o'clock and we'll do something and get the whole world to join in. One of the most impactful things that ever happened was many years ago when Africa was starving and we were dying of AIDS as well. The musicians of our world came together with a song that brought the whole world together. We are the world.
Yeah.
And it was talking about set aside our differences, make some choices that are good for us, not just for you. If you really listen to the words of that song, it makes such a heavy non-political statement. We got to set aside our differences and work together. There was a day in time when our world did that. There was a day in time when our government did that. And I think we're all feeling the pains of what I call the microwave society, where we think everything's going to be fixed in the minute that it takes to cook our tea in the microwave. We expect a pill to fix our problems.
En ik speel horen in het Rotterdamse Philharmonisch Orkest.
Mijn naam is... Share with us.
Anja van der Maat. Juliana Sommerhouder. Karin Samson. Annelies Stukker. Timo Wierenga. En ik speel trompet. Wendy Lelyveld. Arjen Nemers. Pierre Volders. Ik ben Rosalinde en ik speel altviool. Laurens Votto. Joseph Finale. Hendrik Jornes. Zulke Bijnema. Pieter Neuten. Ik ben Saskia. En ik ben Wim. Wij spelen in het Rotterdamse Philharmonisch Orkest. We moeten ons aanpassen aan een nieuwe werkelijkheid. En oplossingen vinden om elkaar te steunen. Creatieve krachten helpen ons hierbij. Laten we out of the box denken. En innovatie gebruiken om het samen te doen. En onze bond met elkaar te blijven voeren. Als we het samen doen, gaan we ons lukken.
What are they saying?
It's a Rotterdam Symphony Orchestra, and they're all playing from their places. But look at what's happening. It's really interesting.
Wow.
You know they're playing. It's a Ninth Symphony by Beethoven.
Wow.
Ode to the Joy.
Where can we see that, Sasha? What website is that?
It's on YouTube, by the way.
What's the name? I'll just open it.
What is the name?
Let me see. From Us to You.
From Us to You.
Yeah.
They can do it.
I'll find it. So Kim, you need to say the screen. I'll play on the screen.
That's not easy.
Well, don't forget they're all fantastic musicians. They're all top-notch professionals.
Wow.
I think we should play on the screen right now.
You can? Okay.
Yeah, I can. I've got the video.
All right. We're going to play it on screen.
Great.
Orkest. Mijn naam is Maria Dingjan. Jan Jansen. Anja van der Maat. Juliana Sommerhouder. Karin Samson. Annelies Stukker. Timo Wierenga. En ik speel trompet. Wendy Lelyveld. Arjen Nemers. Pierre Volders. Ik ben Rosalinde en ik speel altviool. Laurens Votto. Joseph Finale. Hendrik Jornes. Zulke Bijnema. Pieter Neuten. Ik ben Saskia. En ik ben Wim. Wij spelen in het Rotterdamse Philharmonisch Orkest. We moeten ons aanpassen aan een nieuwe werkelijkheid. En oplossingen vinden om elkaar te steunen. Creatieve krachten helpen ons hierbij. Laten we out of the box denken. En innovatie gebruiken om het samen te doen. En onze bond met elkaar te blijven voeren. Als we het samen doen, gaan we ons lukken.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Inspirational. What you can do when you set aside your differences, even from a distance, people can pull together and make and command that kind of performance. It's very inspirational. What are we learning today? We can still make magic without having to be in front of each other. I don't know about you guys. I was moved. I just
Seriously, I mean, it was beautiful and it was very connecting. And I mean, there were no words, only music, and still people from different countries are able to connect. So that means we have those feelings, and we still have a lot of magical things we can do. But at this point of time, we have to stay united, and we don't have to think about our country or our neighborhood or our family. It's all about the global family, and then only we can survive, and we can still build a beautiful world, because we have taken a lot of things from the nature, but we are not giving back. So I think that Willie says that we have to have I mean, we have to hug that tree every day, and then we'll take all the positive vibes from the tree, and then that's how we have to stay focused and stay alive.
You know, I think in many, many ways, we have forgotten our basics. And, you know, we are divided in so many ways, in political views, religious views, but we're all human.
Yeah.
We're all human. We're all born into this world the same way.
Yeah.
And we have to get back to our basics. It's like you said, we've taken so much from nature. We need to start giving back. I think the core of this war that we're battling, we've unleashed it ourselves. You know, and we haven't been taking care of ourselves. And Dr. Who was that from? It was from Singapore. He made a very profound statement to me, and it has stuck. It's like, you know, I'm saying, let's learn these practices and make them go forward. He goes, Ken, by the time it's over, 2 weeks later, we're right back to where
we're right back.
Who was that?
He's a family, actually. He's one of the family. He lives in Singapore.
Okay. So a family. Okay. But very profound. He put me right back to my place. I'm like, you know, let's learn these disciplines and take on the next challenge. But he's right. We're going to go right back to our old ways. And I think we need to stop.
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
That's what we have been doing so far. Whenever there's a crisis, we try to stay united. We try to stay alive. And then after a point of time, we are back to the basics of what we are good at. We are we are building concrete forests. We are not doing anything for the nature. We are not working towards a medical healthcare as well. So I believe that I was reading a lot of articles about the healthcare facilities around the world. And to my surprise, none of the countries have that much amount of healthcare where if there is a crisis in any country, I mean, at one point of time, they can take care of 50% of the population. So, I mean, all the countries, they have a lot of medical facilities, but that is for just for 2 to 5% of the population if there are crisis. So what happened to the rest of the world? And we are paying a lot of health insurance. And I don't know, I mean, in your country, but we are paying a lot of health insurance in India, and we are not claiming those insurance because we are trying to keep ourselves fit. But the money is going to the big businesses, and then I'm sorry to say, but we are not getting anything back from them. So at this point of time, when the COVID is going on, so all the health insurance companies, they say that because it's a pandemic and it's a global crisis, so we can't cover your insurance. And so, I mean, I mean, what a person will do? I mean, they're paying taxes, they're paying the insurance, they're paying for medical facilities, they are doing all the best what they can do to save the humanity, and still we are struggling with these small things which is going around just to earn profits. So I'm surprised that I mean, why people are not thinking about the human culture rather than their own culture, which is money. That is the ultimate agenda for all the politicians. And I'm sorry to say, but some of the politicians might be good, doing good work, but most of them are not focusing the right way around the world, and that's why I mean the complete. I mean, we all blame to our leaders basically. So we need more leaders, and I think we need leaders in the medical industry as well. And we have to have some kind of a global health package or a program from United Nations or somewhere to make sure that something next will come up. We'll be ready and prepared for all the things. What do you think, Willie, about it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, the people that's going to step up and take the necessary precaution, they have to also have the prerequisite of the background, like industry knowledge, like doctors, like because you can't come from outside. When you come from outside, the whole industry just like disbelieve you just because you're not from the inside. And that's how I see it.
No, Sasha, what is your opinion and thoughts on some of this with the health insurance? This is some of the things I've been saying as well is, we need to get back to our basics. They're fighting over stimulus. I'm saying we need to fight over paying for our healthcare industry, making sure that they're compensated for making sure that we're taken care of. There are many other things we need to be concerned about besides the stimulus at this point. What are your thoughts on that?
Unmute, Sasha.
Oh, Sasha. Oh, sorry. All right, go ahead, Sasha. Sorry,
Yes.
I don't know why that happens.
Yes, okay. It's now when we're talking about this problem being health medicine on one side, economic on the other side, and political as well on the third side. So this is definitely a political issue, much more than health and business or economic issue. From this perspective, when we are saying we are all united, we are all one people, in that respect, when it comes to politics, I hate to disagree with this because there are a lot of differences in many political systems around the world. There are main differences is what you put first, a society as a whole or individual well-being, freedoms, and everything else, and how to balance this. Um, it should not be that difficult because if you think that if you're taking care of every person, any individual, if you'll do that, then society will prosper, because if every individual prospering, then society prospering. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way because of the natural competitiveness of the human beings, and they're competing against each other for a better place in the society. Now society is competing with each other. There are different ways to structure the society. One is, of course, US model, but there is also Chinese model, which is following of what's happening is in Soviet Union, and of course with some modifications. And it appears to me that there are a lot of merits in what the Chinese society is doing, although it's I'm pretty sure that it suppresses the individuals and they put society on the top of their list of priorities, and individual freedoms and everything is at the very, very end. So it depends where you are. If you're on the very top, you are obviously prospering as a society on whole prospering. But if you're on the bottom or even in the middle, I wouldn't envy you. And I know it myself because I went through all while living in the Soviet Union. And I left Soviet Union when I was 26. So I was relatively young at that time. And of course, I have abundance of energy and different skills, talents, whatever you want to call it. So I could prosper fairly quickly in Western society. And but my example doesn't really say much. All I can say is that the system which is presently in China, I don't know if it's anywhere else. I think it's in Cuba, probably still about the same as in Fidel Castro's time. But I've learned actually a very interesting thing. As you know, in Cuba, I don't understand the reasons, but they have very, very good medicine for some reason. I really don't understand why, but it's all well recognized that they have very good medicine. And Cuba sent several of their medical professionals to Italy to help them. I think it's very interesting news. Um, well, I'm pretty sure because of the similarity between Spanish and Italian languages, they're from the same family. So it would be very easy for them, relatively easy, to communicate with sick people or other medical professionals, Italian. And it's very interesting how it's going to work out. I'm not sure what statistics in Cuba itself, for that matter, but we can find it from this table what Ankit provided. Um, so to summarize, I would say that it's a very delicate question of what comes first, state or individual, and it's treated very differently by different societies. And I would say that there are times when individuals' freedoms and interests are first, and most of the time that's probably the case. In times like this, mm, I would say that interests of society are becoming probably more important. But they really didn't have to suppress individuals, because if they are doing it the right way, then every individual will benefit from it. So I really don't see um, inherent contradictions between both notions. That's the way I see it.
Well, I mean, I think it's definitely becoming a political issue. I don't think we're reaching out and helping each other like we should be and could be. We have the resources, now we don't. I think we waited too long. Um, this is my Corona defense. Yeah, my voodoo doll. Yeah, Corona, we're going to get rid of you. But no, in seriousness, we have to laugh a little bit. Political satire was brought about many years ago. That's where our jokers came from, to politically put down the leaders who were not doing right in a funny way. Um, that's where our comics came from. But people, what I really want us to do is look at our real heroes, our real mass defenders, our everyday living, breathing people who get up, work tirelessly for hours and hours. They're the ones wearing the mask and the hoods and the pin that says, I'm here to serve you. And most of them, they're probably not going to get paid for this. Many of them are going to die from this because nobody did what they were told to do. Nobody listened. We don't know how to listen anymore. This is the first thing they need to teach us in school. When I was growing up, of course, I'm not practicing it now. I run my mouth more and I listen. But we were told to listen twice as much as we talk. And we're not doing that. We're doing our own thing. We think that there's going to be a pill out there that saves us. And there are so many people out there who their family members have died. We've heard about whole families that have this disease, and most of them have died. We're seeing it now attack the politicians themselves, maybe their families. And, and all you needed to do was stay home. That's it. Such a simple request of the medical profession. Have people stay home so we can contain this. China got hit first. I wish that they would share with us their how they've been able to recover their patients, because they actually have a very high recovery rate. Italy is dying. New York is every day the numbers are doubling and tripling. And the thing is these numbers are skewed because the test results that we use, the test we use, takes 10 days. So we're 10 days behind the ball, people. Not 1 day, we're 10 days. Just because you got tested today doesn't mean that counted for tomorrow's results. So in reality, what you're seeing calculated as 20,000 is probably 100,000 right now. In India, that's going to be the same. In Canada, I hate telling you guys this, but think about it logically. Think about the math here. And we're not. And our leaders didn't think this way. I don't think anybody did. And, you know, we hear because we're globally communicating, we built our bridge here. We're board of advisors who set aside our differences to come together because we have a common cause. We want to get information out to people and understand how to do it in a way that they will listen. ANKIT is starting a health channel with real information, real people with real ideas, healthy ideas. Willie is wanting to start up a business startup incubator system that is online and pull together people of common minds to do this. And we can. But people, let's give thanks to the people who are giving their lives for us. Because right now, most of our leaders are fighting amongst themselves and they're using this as a political tool and game. They're not using this as a means to pull together and work together like we used to do. This is more devastating right now than 9/11, although 9/11 were many lives taken in 1 minute.
Do you think we should come up? We should have one more umbrella organization for the global society as a global citizen about WHO, because WHO is also a little political because every country have their own say and WHO is in foundation because the politics runs through UN and all those things. So we should have a separate organization which will have a broader role to play only for the medical facilities, because people who are suffering from what they need medical, people who are suffering from disaster they need medical help, crashes like corona they need medical help. So whatever you are doing and wherever we are struggling we need medical help, but we don't have a global healthcare system where we can go and take those medical help across the globe anywhere. And also we are not sharing the infrastructure globally as well. We should have a medical cruise basically, where that big cruise is used for people to go from one place to the other for on vacation. Can't we have a medical, big ship which will go around in different continents and treat people on the go? I mean, can we do a lot of different things which we are not doing right now?
You know, the biggest problem, if you look back in your probably your own history books, is it's called power, and you have a battle of power, and it all comes down to power and money or monetary purposes, whether it's a stone that you trade or gold. I think we need a global Senate. We don't need just as a Senate in each country, but and you would think each president or each prime minister would become that person for the global Senate, but they're too busy running their own country and their own campaigns and their own agenda. So I think we need, and we have World Health Organization, which is supposed to be to me, the Senate for the health entity. But I think that's become political as well as monetary. I think we need a global Senate that makes decisions globally, like you're saying. How to get the resources to the country that needs it at the time. We could have had a ship going to China and saying, hey, let's work together.
Yeah.
Bring your samples on board the ship where we can contain it and let us help you research. Now, would have China allowed it? I don't know. But China is the ground zero for this disease. I think we need to be building a bridge with China and finding out what they're doing. Australia, I see a lot of posts every day from Australia of the research. It seems like Your country has the mindset of, I'm going to be the hero. I'm going to solve this problem. And they are digging their heels in and testing every day. I don't see that many posts from other places. I bet India is doing the same thing. It would be interesting to hear from the research industry in India, because I'm sure every country is doing this.
Yeah.
But we need to pull that research together. Because I'm a firm believer from day one when we started the show, it's not going to be discovered in a lab by itself. The disease is growing out here. Somebody's going to fall upon and stumble upon a discovery moment. You know, they kept saying it was resistant to heat. If that's the case, why did it grow in my body? It's 98.6. What level of heat is it resistant to? Right? So
True.
I don't think people were really thinking. I think it was the healthy lifestyles we had in hotter environments because our immune system builds. Because we're in the sun, we probably eat more vitamin C because it's more readily available. Our endorphins are up. When endorphins are high, your antibodies are high. So I think we need to kind of start figuring these things out, join people together to, maybe become our own Senate and find our, Ankit, everybody everywhere. I think you got a family member in every industry around the world. But maybe become our own Senate. Sometimes that's how things happen. Just do it. And we bring in and talk to the resources of what they're finding and discovering and bridging that gap that nobody, because right now when I turn on the local news, I get 5 minutes of commercial and 30 seconds of what's happening. I can barely piece together anything. I don't know is that like that in your country?
Same. It's all about money.
It's all about money.
And they're looking for ways to earn those money basically. Right now, what's happening in India, because people are doing a lot of stockings for the mask, and the mask which costs 1 penny, they're selling it for 20 rupees.
Yeah, so there was a rumor, that so much in a pandemic happens, and you get this panic, hysterical rumors going, and you hear people going, "Oh, because they started printing this mask that has a patent, they're going to get sued." Well, that company came back and said, "No, we never said that. We're not. Get past this crisis, right?" And who knows? Maybe they'll partner up with them because they're manufacturing them and they have a distribution channel.
Yeah.
Think, people, this is business, right, Willie?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a distribution channel for them now. We have a manufacturer who can build this for us, our patent, but let's live today so we can rebuild tomorrow. And that was the attitude the real owner of the patent had. The real truth is that when they called to say, can we print and build this device, we know you own the patent. They said, we can't give you the drawings. We're not going to give you our blessings. But that was it. They didn't say that they were going to sue them. And the owner came on and he said, no, we're not going to sue them. We're actually giving away these special, because they're special masks. We're giving them away right now to help save the world. That's what needs to happen. And our own politicians and leaders, they're not joining together. We need that. We are the world, and their hands joining together. We need to send that song to them, and they need to join hands, and maybe send them a Coca-Cola to go with it. But bridging, we need to bridge. We don't need to build walls. We don't need to dig moats. The ocean is big enough of a moat, and we have the communication tools. We need to use them. I would love to hear from China. I don't know. Wouldn't you guys? Wouldn't you like to hear from one of the scientists to know what are they doing officially? We hear from Singapore. They are confident they have it under control. I'm not confident in my country right now. We do believe the malaria drug is helping, but I received a message from someone yesterday: be aware of it. Don't self-treat with it. because it can kill you. The malaria cocktail can kill you if you do not take it properly. So do not take this drug unless your doctor or physician gave it to you and instructed you to do so. We've learned that rapid test kits are available from CDC labs, but don't order them online. They're going to the medical professions only, so that doctors can give them, so that they're creditable and the test results are creditable. It is going to be like the pregnancy test of antibodies, right? So
yeah, one of the research companies in India, my lab, they have I mean they have approved for the corona test kits. I have this images live on my screen. If you can allow me, I can show it to you. And they are rolling those test kits for around the world. The company name is MyLab. If you can share my screen, I'll share more information. So MyLab director Dr. Gautam Wankhede says they are in a position to start supplying because they already have the raw material and have been molecularly diagnostic manufacturing for at least 3 to 4 years. So they have those kits available, and they have been testing from so long, and that's what they are commencing so far. They are targeting to produce around 150 kits, which translates to 15,000 tests in batch size, 100 tests per day in the next 2 days. That's what they're committing right now. So I think,
yeah,
I mean, we have good research, and I mean, doctors and research companies are working towards the test kits and the vaccine. But I mean, still, what I wanted to, I mean, what I wanted to see that when you talk about WHO, so the standard of the medical facility should be equal in all the countries. It should not be that your country is above in the medical health and we are below. If we know that we don't have those facilities which are the newest, so we have to work on it. I don't know. People are matching the defense equipment. That if you have 50 tanks, I have 40 tanks. If you have 100 ships, I have 200 ships. They are not matching with the medical things. That I have 1,000 ventilators and you have 500 ventilators. We need to buy 5,000 more and ventilators. So I don't know. I mean, people are always talking about the power, and I don't know if the humanity will not be there. What will they do with those power? And people who are rich, they are rich because we are poor. But if we are not alive, then they are what they will do. I don't know. I mean, what, how, and they will survive the
it's
how will they live?
it's it's some of those horror stories that we've watched over the years, like when the zombie movies and stuff like that. It reminds me of those horror movies, except we don't get the music. But what if, let's play a what if game here. I like to do this when I'm whiteboarding to solve something. I don't have all my facts, right? What if? What if McDonald's, which is freaking everywhere, or Starbucks, but McDonald's has drive-through mostly. What if they
Yeah,
had test kits that people can drive through,
take the test.
take the test, and leave it with somebody that's contained at a window, right? And McDonald's, because they're everywhere, um, runs this test for us. Those test results can come back maybe a little bit faster. We have universities in every city now, I think, that has a lab that can be running the test. There is nothing for us to share those ways of doing the test. We should be sharing that globally right now. Every university in the world should have access for their labs to do these tests. That would increase our testing capabilities, reduce the
So
time.
I
But
completely agree.
right. And what if maybe we get the rapid test kits that Juan shared with us, and we
Yeah,
supply them through McDonald's or through a Starbucks or something that has a drive-through window, and people just drive, take the test, and then you could quickly isolate people, right? But we're not doing that. We're not. We're arguing over, like you said, we're arguing over the wrong things.
yeah, we are doing the wrong
And
thing.
we're letting politics define us, not humanity. We're not taking control of the situation. I was so proud of my country when 9/11 happened. Our crime rate went down. It was almost like
Yeah,
simply oozed out of people. And the crime rate dropped. You were sharing that with me, Ankit, that crime rate has dropped in your country
yeah.
slightly. Um, we see this humanity come out of people in time of need, and we're not seeing it right now. And I have to ask myself, how many people are going to have to die? And is it going to be too late by the time our leaders that we're looking up to do something about this? I think by sharing resources globally and not arguing over it, we're helping each other. I've received several text messages. Can I please talk to Juan, or a country? I know a country that's interested in the test kit. So people have been watching us, and people who have influence. This is someplace in Honduras. So, and they reached out to me today and said, "Can you connect me to Juan?" So, it's sharing like this is what our leaders need to be doing, because they have that influence power. They have the influence power. We don't. And we need a committee that will do this. Oh, Dr. Sagu, my friend. Dr. Sagu is back. Yay. Hold on.
Good morning. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning, Dr. Sagu. How is it going?
Namaskar. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Namaste.
Sorry,
Many blessings.
Yes, please.
So
Namaste.
can you share with us what is happening in the medical profession?
Yeah, everything is the same. In medical profession, we are totally locked down. We are not doing our regular OPDs, but yes, we are seeing the casualties, emergencies, and we are seeing some corona-infected patients, and we are referring all those patients to the government center, which has been authorized by the government of India. Yeah.
Is there something that we can do as a public to help right now besides stay home? Is there something that the medical profession needs there in India or anywhere else that you see that we can be doing right now?
Medical profession, yes, we are doing the research work. Even in some countries, the research work is going on for the treatment of the virus, and unfortunately, we are being hit by another virus also. The news are coming from China that some hantavirus is also coming in. Even we don't have any treatment for the previous one, and now we are getting the other one also. So it's a bad news for today.
So can you explain to us what is the antivirus that you're speaking of? Is there several? Is there one?
Actually, if we talk about the virology, it's the same family which was the corona virus family. SARS and MARS was there, the same family. But the members of those family, now the other viruses. So this is the novel virus which we are talking about, that the COVID-19. It's a mutated virus. There had been a mutation in the RNA synthesis of the same coronavirus, and it has. We discussed earlier that there is a species jump from the animal to human, and now in the human. And when there's a human virus and the animal virus is there together in one cell, and there was mutation during their replication cycle. In the mRNA, and because of the mRNA mutation, so now it is a mutant gene. The genome is mutant. This is a mutant virus, so that's why it was not coming in control. And now another strain has come, that is the hantavirus. So we don't have much literature about this new virus, and hopefully in coming days we would be in good position to explain about this virus, explain about the structure of this virus. Yeah. Hopefully.
So it's taking time. We just need to be patient and stay home. Let the medical profession do their job.
Yeah.
And let you get it contained and understand how to do this. Give us again. I know I asked you to repeat this. Maybe we need to videotape this for you. But share with us again, and if there's anything new, some things that we could be doing at home to be proactive and protective. But if we're sick, if there's something we could be doing for self-treatment.
Can you please repeat your question? I couldn't understand your question.
Okay. And Kit?
Yeah. So basically, Kim wants to know that how we will to be at home, what we can do and how we can protect ourselves. So you mentioned about taking a lot of precautions like cleaning the towels, the boiling water, and taking care of your.
Yes, 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 yes.
If
So
there's some new things, but repeat it. People need to
I
keep
know,
hearing this.
I know. If
I want to add. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, if we want to really understand about the structure of the virus and how it works and how it infects the human cells, because uh, it would be strange for you that this virus it's not a live virus or it's not a dead virus. It is not matching in one category, but when it comes into the target cell in the ciliated epithelial cells of the human throat, then for its replication, for its production, this virus needs a cell, which is the throat cell, which is the throat epithelial cells of the human body. So, this cell has the, knob-like structures. The spikes are there on the outer envelope, and those spikes, they recognize special type of the receptor on the cell. And when this spike binds with that receptor of the epithelial cells, then it comes in contact, and then by endocytosis, this virus goes into the epithelial cells. And there is a synthesis of the genome again, there is synthesis of mRNA, there is a protein synthesis, because this virus has a total 3 or 4 types of the protein. One is the nucleocapsid protein, which is present in the nuclei. Another is in the cytoplasm, and another is in the spikes, the glycoprotein. So all these proteins, they are specific for the specific receptors which are present only on the epithelial cell of the throat, human throats. Then there is a replication in this cycle, and then there is a more production of the viruses inside, and those viruses they start shedding those viruses into the body, into the interstitial cells, into the lungs, and those viruses then start damaging that epithelial cells and damaging their lungs. So now we understand that the spread of this virus is through the droplets, because this virus is heavier. It is, I think, 400 micron, and the atoms in the air, they are 100 microns, so they are heavier than the molecules of the air. So that is why they go down. They are heavier, so they cannot fly in the air, and they remains in 1 meter of the diameter of the patient. So when they goes down, they fell down. Then they fell down on the surfaces. The surface may be your table, maybe your chair, maybe anything, maybe your hand, maybe your clothes, and anywhere. And from there, they can spread. So there is a new word, that is the fomite spread. So all these things, they are being said, they are being recognized as the fomites. So basically, this virus has a fomite spread. And if we talk about the fomite is, you can say, it's a type of the article where the virus can attach and can infect the another person. So you can say this is the messenger or this is the carrier of the virus. Fomites is the carrier of the virus. So there can be, if we are roaming around outside the home, so there is a one category of the fomites. When we have isolated ourselves in the home, then there's a different type of the fomites. So the first category we talk about, when we are outside, we are roaming around, we are going outside, we are out of the homes, then even your specs, if we have touched the patient and then we are touching our specs, this can be fomite. Your purse, you are taking out your purse again and again, that can be a fomite. You are taking out your mobile can be a fomite. Your clothes can be fomite, your hair can be fomite, your turban, everything can be fomite. So wherever you touch, the chair, table, they can be fomite. Whatever the articles you are buying from the market, your fruits, your vegetable, your plastic bags, they can be fomite. So all these things can have attached virus on their surfaces. Yeah, currency note. Your currency note can be a fomite. So that is why, I don't know about the others, but I have started doing everything online by card. So we are not using the currency notes now. We are not taking any currency note from the sellers. So all these can be fomite. Now the WHO has said that even you are isolated, you are not protected. If you are in quarantine, you are not protected. Why? Because while sitting in the home, you can have so many fomites. In the early morning, when your doorbell rings and you will get the newspaper, that is a good example of the fomite. Newspaper is coming inside. Milk bag is coming inside. The plastic bag is coming inside. Your frequent visitors, they are coming inside. They are touching their doorbell. They are touching their door handles. All these articles can be fomite.
Even pushing the button on the elevator, which has probably got more formite germs.
Lift and the elevators. Yeah, they have ample space to become fomites. The visitors' shoes. Yeah, so all these can be fomite.
Your shoes. Walter, I've learned something even by watching you. And someone else, they were wearing a hair bonnet to protect their hair. You wear a turban.
My turban or cap or exposed hair, they can be fomite. So now what we should do whenever, because we are coming from outside, whenever because I went for shopping today, whenever I took, because I didn't carry my purse along with me. My wallet was not there along with me, but yes, I was using my phone for all the payments. So I was doing, the cleaning of my phone every time. You have to clean your phone every time. You please don't touch your specs. Don't remove your specs. Don't hand over your mobile to anybody else. So whenever you come to your house, you keep your articles. If you have an ample space outside, put in the water, warm water, and then take all the bags inside. Remove your shoes outside your door. Don't take your shoes inside. Remove the shoes outside. Or remove your clothes. All clothes you have to wash it properly with the warm water. With the warm water, right? Then you have to clean your hands properly first. After removing your clothes, you have to clean your hands properly. Once you have cleaned your hands, then you can wash your face, you can wash your beard, your exposed hair if you have exposed hair. Properly, you have to do shampoo for your hair. You have to properly clean it, take a shower with the warm water. Then you come inside. Now you are ready for your family.
That is probably the best advice I have heard. We talk about it, but that was so well said. To share that, be careful about touching the handles. I went to the store the other day. I took a wipe and made sure the cart. I didn't open any door without the wipe.
If you want to open, you open with your elbow. Okay. Use your elbow to open your door. And now, how can we disinfect our second type of the fomites? When you are isolated in the home, you have not gone outside, even though you are exposed to so many fomites. Number one, please ask your newspaper seller. I don't want the newspaper. I have enough news on my media. I can hear my news. I don't want to read. Stop your newspaper for some time. No problem. If your milk bags are there, clean it properly with the warm water, with the detergent. Clean it properly. Then take it into your kitchen. Clean all the articles. Decrease the number of your visitors. We don't want any visitors. Please. Namaste. We don't want any visitors. Decrease the number of your servants. My driver is on the leave. Our maids are on the leave. Cook is on the leave. We can cook ourselves. We have ample time inside. What we are doing inside the house. So we can do everything ourselves. Whatever the fixed maid you can keep inside your servant. Otherwise, decrease the number of visitors. Don't ask anybody. Don't allow anybody to come inside. And disinfect your whole of the house. You have to clean your table. You have to clean your doors, handles, everything. So three recommended solutions are there. One is the bleaching powder you can use. You can make a bleaching powder solution. Number two, you can use a sodium hypochlorite solution. That is very important. Yes. And one more solution is there. You can use the phenol for your floor cleaning.
Phenyl.
So you have to disinfect your. There is a phenol solution. It's cannot phenyl. It's a phenol solution. You have to clean your house properly. Clean your doors because you have ample time. You don't have much work to do at home, so you can do everything.
That's right. I mean, that's my favorite kind of cleaning anyway. I don't clean any other way. I like the detail clean. Everybody else takes care of everything else. But let's talk about the other things that in our lives, like when you're talking about cleaning the vegetables and stuff, but also talk about it. We hear that it could be aerosol, or we hear it could be airborne. Can you kind of share with us some facts about this to kind of disassociate the myth from the truth of what does aerosol mean? If it is aerosol, how does that infect us? Is there truth to that?
Yeah, there is two different things. One is the airborne disease. Airborne disease when the virus is present in the air, right? Then you can inhale through the inhalation by taking you breathe in. You can take your viruses with the air. That is the airborne disease. Droplets through droplets is when not by the inhalation. You can infect yourself by touching your hands to your face, your nose, and your eyes. Because this is a heavier virus, so it cannot float in the air. It will fall down, and through the surfaces, through the fomites, it can be spread. So this is not an airborne disease. This is the fomite spread disease.
And sir, you want to mention about the MyLab test kit, which is approved by the medical council?
Yeah. Today the MyLab kit has been approved, and the beauty of this kit is that by the use of one kit, we can do the test for 100 people. So we don't have a literature much about this, but I think if this kit will be there in the market, definitely this is going to help us regarding the diagnosis of the disease. And today I think announced some private labs also being announced for the authentic lab for the test of the coronavirus, which we discussed yesterday or before yesterday. Now this test is available at the private labs also. So tremendous work has been done by the government of India, by the scientists in India, and by the medical healthcare. So now this test can be done in the private lab.
And how the test kits are different from the one which is presented by Yuvan the other day?
That was the rapid test. Rapid test detect only antibodies, and already we are in India. We are doing both type of the things. We are doing the antibodies also. We are doing the PCR also. PCR is a test where we can see the total volume of the virus which is present inside, so that this can be used as a diagnostic measure. We can use as a therapeutic measure. We can use as a prognostic measure also. We can see the response of the treatment. So I think this kit is also the principle. I think it's based on the PCR principle.
Okay. And sir, what do you want to mention about the Modi ji's press briefing today regarding the lockdown and how?
Now Prime Minister Modi has announced national complete lockdown for 21 days, and it's being till I think 14th April. So it has been announcement for the complete lockdown, because the some people during the lockdown they are not following the guidelines. So this is a strictness which has been given by the government of India. So now the government has to be strict, and all those people who are not following the guidelines, I think by this strictness they will definitely going to follow the guidelines. And some budget has also been approved by the Modi ji. PM Modi has announced around 15,000 crores for the patients of the corona, for the isolation beds, for the hospital, and for everything. So it comes to be around, I think, 208 million US dollars. So this is enough budget right now. In the coming time, I think we are expecting more from the Modi ji. And the tremendous work he is doing very well. Government of India, government of Delhi, government of all the provinces, they are doing very well. And that is why the total number of the cases, they are not like going steep curve. They have a plateau curve now. Even the deaths are not much. 519 the total cases. Out of that, 485 they are the active cases, and the total 9 casualties we have in India.
But sir, I think the cases are down because we are taking a lot of precautions, and if we still stay at home, I think we manage.
That is why complete. Yeah. If you talk about the life after this corona disease, tremendously there is a 360-degree change in the life. You see your personal life, you see your family life, you see your social life, you see your professional life. Completely changed life. The people they have become more responsible. I can say more honest. They are following the guidelines. They are taking care of the hygiene, cleaning, and everything. And uh, now there is no difference between the rich and the poor person. They are on the
Yeah.
equal level. Even the politicians, they seems to be on the equal level. So now there is no differences. There is no caste difference. There is no religion difference. Everybody is standing with the other person. If I have a I have a sanitizer in my pocket, I'll use this sanitizer for my other people, for my other person, for my friend before I use it for me. So we are
Yeah.
helping each other. That is why the results are coming.
But I think so. It's not about helping each other. We have to help people who are not helping as well. Because if someone, or maybe some people are not following the rules or not following the protocols, we are still struggling with the same situation. And that is what the
So
pandemic
I,
happened. Because,
I think Ankit will understand and he will make you understand. Kim, there is a phrase in India, "Laton ke bhoot baaton se nahi mante." So that is why the strictness has been implemented by the government of India. So strictly we have to follow the guidelines. Doesn't matter. We are not bound emotionally. We are
yeah,
not bound socially. We have to follow the guidelines if we
yeah,
want to fight against this invisible virus. We need to follow the guidelines. I mean, you don't have to spend money. You have to spend your brain. Come on, yeah, you have to follow the guidelines. Yeah.
So, it's like I keep telling everyone, in order for us to survive this, we need to be educated, education, information, communication, and transparency. And Dr. Sagu, you're the first doctor, other than some articles I've read, but people don't really discuss what is this disease. It's a spiky disease, right? That's why they call it corona. It gets inside of you. I can't imagine what it feels like. We've had letters from people who are sharing with us while they're surviving the disease, what's happening to their bodies, the fever. So they're giving us report. Sasha, yes.
Yeah, Dr. Sago, I have an interesting question for you as a
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
medical professional. I would like to understand from medical point of view. There are a lot of people these days, and just any days, especially these days, who are, how to say it softly, but let me be blunt, lying, especially a lot of politicians, a lot of charlatans who are proposing some drugs who have very questionable value or so on. In our age of internet, where you can easily check all facts and immediately, in a matter of a few seconds, to find out the fact is truth or it's a lie, why people are lying? Is it a sickness of some kind? What is it?
This is a human mentality. This is a mentality. If we talk about the psychology of people, so on the back of the mind, maybe subconscious mind, they are in nature of hiding the things, lying the things. Even then, they know that they cannot hide their lies, but even they are lying.
So it's
This is a psychology.
it's a pathological issue, right? It's a pathology.
You can say a pathology. I mean, not a pathology. It's a psychology. Basically, psychology. Pathological, there is no problem with the brain, but yes, psychologically, that they have a problem.
Is there a cure from that?
I don't think so. Dr. Sagu, you're the doctor.
If somebody will invent a
We need a cure for that. We do.
somebody will get a Nobel Prize for inventing a medicine from lying.
I don't think we should go on that side. That will divert our pathway.
We have a cure for those who lie. No.
Yeah, I can understand your indication clearly, Sasha.
Okay, I'll tell you what's the problem. My late grandfather used to say that if you will open in the center of the city, in the most in the best populated area of city, a store which would sell brain. That store would go bankrupt very quickly because nobody would admit that he needs brains. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So nobody would buy medicine from lying. Because nobody would know he's lying.
Yeah.
No, I think there's no real cure for lying. I was trying to pull up my favorite picture, Ralphie with a bar of soap in his mouth. As little kids, I grew up in and had a Catholic in Catholic school for a while. They would, pop you on the back of the hand if they thought you told a fib. Your mom would make you eat a bar of soap. But, I think that killed most of us if it didn't cure the lies, right? But there is a pandemic hysteria. People are in survival mode. The animalistic mannerisms of humans when they get to the point of panic and trying to survive can be very unhealthy environment. I think staying home is the best way to do this. But you have people who don't think that way.
Yeah, but even then, there is a lot of change of attitude on the positive side. I have seen. I cannot say about the other countries, but yes, in Indian population, in Indian people, whatever the attitude they were having before Corona, and now they have changed. They are in the helping mode. They are. I mean, I cannot say 100% people are like that, but yes, more than 90% people are like that.
Dr. Singh, you want to mention about the Gurdwaras and how they're helping the people around the world?
Yes, I mean, even the US government has also asked the Sikh organization in US to make food for the people who are suffering from the corona. So the lot of the Sikh organization, they are doing this type of the services to the corona patients. And I think we should be combinedly, we should come forward and we should serve for all those people. And I should salute all these the communities, whether it belong to Sikh communities or some other communities. But yes, they are doing all these services, and that's good. Even in India also, I think gurdwaras and temples, they are the main places where the patients they can have a shelter over there, and even they have some isolation rooms also. They are keeping them in isolation there and serving them food. The daily essential necessities they are giving them. And I must say, I must thank all those organizations all over the world.
And also, we were discussing about the role of a WHO. That we are not sure that they are playing the right role. But because what I've seen that there's a lot of difference in infrastructure between countries and compared to medical care. And when I know in India that we are at 140th place as compared to Italy, which is the second position in the healthcare. So why we are not working on the healthcare system? Because we are busy buying the defense equipments every time. To showcase our power and all. But we are not focusing on the medical budget. And it's not about India, it's about the globe. Because
yes.
I was checking the facts that all the countries around the world, they just have 5% of the ventilators as compared to the population of the country. So if some crisis will happen at some point of time, at least we should have 50% of the ventilators or the equipment ready for the public. And we are paying a lot of money to the health insurance companies, to a lot of people regarding the healthcare, and we are not getting the required healthcare when required. And the insurance in India, I mean, they have stopped doing the COVID insurance cover because they said it's a pandemic and we can't cover it. So people have to pay a lot of money to survive all these things, and how a regular person can do so. So I think that you think we need to work on the WHO position at this point of time?
Yes, I think I'll answer your second question first. I think the Ayushman Bharat policy is covering the COVID-19 patients.
Yeah.
I think they have announced that. I think they have announced.
Yeah, they have announced, but it's not for the whole country, because Ayushman is already available only to those people who have the BJP government ready right now. So it's not established.
In some countries, the Ayushman Bharat is not there, but where the Ayushman Bharat is there, they are covering all this under the insurance, and that is pretty good. And now the answer to the your first question is, I think there are two types of studies. One is the antegrade studies and another is the retrograde studies. So by retrospective, because this type of the pandemic has happened first time in my life, I can say. In my life, I have seen this type of the pandemic in my life. And now all the governments of all the countries now, they are going to think upon this retrogradely, that what is the result of their investment. If they would have been invested on the hospitals, on the diagnosis, on the medical professionals, paramedical professionals, on the healthcare, then there might have a different scenario right now which we have. So retrogradely, they have to think over we have lot of high thinking people. We have already we have elected, because it's a democracy. We have elected them, and now they are going to think over it, sitting in a parliament. So they will think over it. If they will not think, then I think we can have a policy to make them pressurize for that. If they can have a thickness to ask us to follow the guidelines, the same way we can also pressurize them to announce more budget on the healthcare, more budget for the hospital, more budget for the healthcare personnel, paramedical staff. So now we cannot think about the past. We can only think about the present and the future. And I'm sure that future is going to be bright.
And my concerns were, I was discussing with Kim and Sasha as well, that can't the WHO do some kind of a standardization for the countries across the globe, that this is the medical standard and you have to follow the standard regularly? Can we do something like this?
Yes. I think now the WHO will also see the scenario all over the world, and they can also make some type of the strict guidelines regarding the healthcare.
So, Doctor, I got another fact that I want to work on here. And the results that we're getting today are from tests that were probably taken 10 days ago, because it takes us 10 days, almost 7 to 10 days, to get those test results. So the results of the cases that exist today are really, from what I can add, from 7 to 10 days ago. So actually the cases that we have today far exceeds what we see. Am I right?
Yeah.
So this is something we really need to look at, that the contaminated cases are much higher.
It is touching almost 4 lakhs now.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it is the total number of the patients they're touching almost 4 lakhs. 4 lakhs.
400,000.
Almost 4 lakhs. 400,000.
So it's probably far above that right now, because we're still testing cases that haven't come in yet.
Some even in India also, I have heard a lot of patients who are the foreigner travelers, and they come to India. They came to India last week. They are hiding themselves. They are not coming out. They are not going self-isolation. So I think more and more people would be coming when we are getting them all investigation done, because now I think that enough kits has been available in India.
No, so in America, we've learned that they don't have enough kits. In New York, the rate has jumped so high in New York, it was like 20,000 yesterday. Yeah, from resources I have. I don't know how real those resources are. Say one thing, but I don't think our testing is keeping up with the data being collected, which is something that Willie has tried to touch on many cases, is that we need more data faster. The rapid test kits, do you think that that's going to make a difference?
That can make a difference for the patients who are in stage 2 and stage 3. At least we can identify all those patients.
Right. So, these are small steps, right, that we can start pulling together so that we can make bigger steps. So these are the small steps. But the biggest steps we can do is stay home, sanitize ourselves, understand what can be contaminated. Our whole body can, our hair, our clothes. So take them off at the door.
Yes.
Door. These are all old practices from old world. Even we used to have to leave our shoes at the door. I used to think it was because my mom didn't want to sweep up and clean up after us. But coming in, a bunch of kids, leave your shoes at the front door. Leave your shoes at the back door. Don't track in the dirt. Right?
No problem if you are keeping your shoes on the front door also. Keep outside. Doesn't matter if it's valuable or not valuable. Yeah.
Right. Especially if you got a little rain catcher. Keep them outside.
Yes.
Shower once you come home. And these are practices that doctors seem to have too. A lot of doctors make these practices their daily part of their life because they don't want to contaminate their families. When I worked part-time for the power company as a college student, and we had to go out to the nuclear power plant, we had to shower when we were done, right? Even though we had the containment suit, we had to shower, change our clothes, because they didn't know what kind of contaminated. But we had to clean before we went in too, and we had to put the suits on. So it's all about protecting you from the environment, but also protecting the environment from you. And
yes, vice versa.
Right. I still believe in the mask, right? But like you said, don't touch your glasses, don't touch your mask. I mean, I am now, but this has been inside for a while. And it's probably contaminated by now, but wear your masks, change them out, clean them, wear your gloves, make those priceless, right? Make them get their dollars worth, but wash them too. I learned when caring for my mom, who was very, very terminally ill, we had to wear layers of plastic gloves. And when we touched something, we had to tear off the layer and put it in the trash can. I noticed my doctor's doing this during my procedure I have to have once a month. When they touch something, they change their layer glove, and then they do something else. And these are practices that they learn that even in your contained environment, you can still transmit diseases. So I learned a lot from just having to wear layers of gloves and change them. And before you get to your last layer, put more gloves on. But your gloves can become contaminants too because they're your hands and you're touching things. But they help, right? Rub the gel on the gloves, clean them. Hot water. Hot water sanitizes. Drinking, you had shared with us too for days, hydration, right? Hydrate our bodies. And we still need to build our immunity. I know Ankit and I think we've got a bet going on here. Who can drink the most during the show? Because we're both constantly drinking. I now bring 2 cups, one this big and one this big on my show. Whenever I see Ankit take a drink, I take a drink. These are very important to flush our body out. Bananas, I finally get mine turning brown in my bowl. But here's another source, right? Apple a day keeps the doctor away. But doctor, it has skin on it. And when I pick it up from the market, it might have those contaminants. How should I wash it or should I peel it? What's the best way to do our fruits and vegetables?
You have to today I washed my vegetables. I bought some vegetables, and then what you can do, you can put your vegetables in warm water, and you can put some acetic acid or silica on this. We say acetic acid we can put on this, and properly you can clean it. So that is the best way to clean your vegetables and fruits. You have to clean it properly before putting into the refrigerator or before putting on the shelf. You have to clean it. Yeah.
Can we use a hot towel as well to clean the vegetables?
No, not towel. So whenever you are coming from outside, you are not going to use your towel. If you want to dry something, you can use a tissue paper, and then you have to discard it properly. So those germs you're going to transfer on your towel, and then towel can also contaminate your other surfaces in the house. So please use your tissue paper. It is recommended.
Okay.
That is very good advice, doctor. Just like your advice if we're using cloth
Yeah, Kim, I want to make a comment. Yeah, I want to make a comment here. Uh, we were talking about the social distancing. I think three distancing are more important. One is the family distancing. Whenever you are in the house, you have to keep distance from your family member also. Then you
Okay.
have to keep your physical distancing. Physical means when you have gone for the supermarket, you are in the queue. So try to be in the distance of more than 1 meter from the other person. Number three is shopping distancing. Try to avoid shopping. I'm very happy to say today to my wife also, please don't shop. The least number of the articles you will buy, you have a least probability to be contaminated by the viruses. Please do less shopping, buy less articles to the house, and come to your house with less fomites. Less fomites will give you less infection. So please keep your shopping very, very less.
So right now, I mean, people who are shopping, they're mostly buying the grocery.
No,
So
no,
we just
they
have to
should
make
not be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are two reasons. One is you are going to infect. You are bringing the fomites into your house. Second is you are not
yeah.
keeping that grocery for your neighbors because you need that grocery and your neighbors they also need your grocery. Other people also need the grocery. Keep some grocery for them. Please bring less number of the items or the articles into your house.
So we can also do one thing. We can keep the grocery outside, and then whenever we record, we can bring it back to the home.
Yes, you
If
can
we
do one
have
thing.
those,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whatever the grocery, if you have, if you can keep those groceries outside your house for 24 hours, that is good.
yeah,
Keep there for 24 hours. Let
yeah.
the viruses shed off from your grocery, and then you can bring the grocery into your house. That
If
is
I
also good
did
idea.
that, the raccoons would take over. Oh my gosh. And the bears, you know,
No, actually,
In India, we can do it.
you know,
In India, we can do
Kim,
it.
actually, in India, we have some sort of storehouses in the parking area that is outside your house. Even we have a parking area. We have a storehouse there, so we can keep the grocery there. That is also locked, so you can keep your articles over there, and you can bring all
smart
those
idea.
articles next day. Yeah,
Smart
that
idea.
is
You can
also a
you
good
can put
idea.
it in, you can put it in your
And
garage, and then after 24 hours, you can bring it back to
yes,
the
yes, yes,
house.
that is also equally good. And one thing I want to comment is we talk about the social distancing, what type of isolation we talked about. We talked about the hand hygiene, that is very good. And we talk about the immunity. You have to boost up your immunity. And number very important for the elder people, as Kim, you mentioned that your mother is there in your house. So it
But
is very important to
she passed away. She's not there. But if she was, let's talk about it. If she was.
okay, so you need to keep your all the disease under control. If you are diabetic, take your diabetic medicine in time. Take control your sugar. That is very important. If you are asthmatic, your bronchitis is there, then keep your inhaler in time. Keep your breathing properly. If you have renal disease, if you are on dialysis, please keep your creatinine level, your kidney functions at the normal level. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, please use your BiPAP or CPAP. So whatever the disease you have to keep all your disease under control. Because if they would not be under control, your immunity will go down. If your immunity will go down, you will be more prone to have a coronavirus disease, COVID-19.
I
And
agree with you. And
I want
also,
to make 2 points. Yeah, I
go
want to
ahead.
mention 2 points that see, I mean, we are getting a lot of stuff from outside the country and especially from China. So what the government have done is they have quarantined those big containers, which we use it for the importing the stuff from China. And after 14 days, those containers will open. So that is going on from past 2 weeks, and that's why we don't have enough supply from China because whatever supply was there in between while the COVID was going on. So we have blocked those supplies, and they are quarantined at the port. And after 14 days, we will open those containers. And
Okay.
secondly, there have been, I mean, travelers visiting India from Italy, and 10 of the Italians, and then they are going back to the country today.
My,
So,
yeah, my
so it's
battery
been
is
after,
going down now.
yeah.
And my battery is going down, so anytime I can, my battery will down.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
Yeah.
So,
These I agree
I
with
wanted
you.
to.
Keep up with the medications.
Yes, yes.
So get them mailed to you if you can
Yeah.
in your country.
Yeah, yeah.
I in my situation, I have to have treatments at the hospital once a month, but because of
Yeah.
this, I no longer can receive my treatments. So I have to find an alternative, which I doubt there is. So, you know, I'm doing what I can to maintain my immunity, to keep my immunity up. So if I can't get my treatments, which I've already been told we can't, but this is what's happening, folks, because people rush to the hospitals with fever and you contaminated the room, you made more people sick. The people who really need their daily treatments, they can't get
Yes,
them
yes.
anymore. Our hospitals have banned everyone, but the
Yes,
people
yes,
who
yes. We have
are
also been.
already treating, that were dying, and women that are having babies. That's it. The only people they're accepting right now are people who are already dying and already patients. So
Yeah.
the way people acted hysterically towards this is hurting the people who need other treatments daily anyway. People, and doctor, you know this, they can't cure the flu. Don't go to the hospital with the flu. Don't go to the hospital with this virus in fourth stage.
Yeah.
Stay home and call. They're saying
Yes,
call.
yes. Yes,
Stay
yes,
home,
yes,
use
yes.
the phone. Stay
Yeah.
home, use the
Stay
phone.
home. Yeah.
Sasha,
Stay home. Use the phone.
stay home, use the phone.
Use the phone.
We need our ambassador. We need our ambassador singing this. Okay, Sasha.
Dr. Sago, I have one question for you because there is a huge political battle going on between the state of New York and federal government. There are shortage of ventilators, apparently 40,000. And yesterday, the governor of New York declared that unless in 10 days 40,000 ventilators will be delivered to hospital system of state of New York, people will start dying in large numbers. And if you remember the statistics which we looked at a few minutes ago, it shows that New York is outstanding of all states by number of infected people.
It's a maximum in the US, yeah.
Yeah. So, what is importance of this ventilators and why it's such a huge problem?
Yeah, yeah. Sasha, you know, there is no treatment for this COVID-19. But yes, what we can do is a supportive treatment. You know, in stage 3 and stage 4, the patients have severe pulmonary fibrosis. They have fluid in their lungs. And because of that, there is a hampering of the oxygen and CO2 transfer at the alveoli level. So the saturation of the oxygen is going down. When there is saturation of the oxygen going down, and the other characteristic of this virus is what it is doing, it is damaging the ciliated epithelium of the throat. What is the function of ciliated epithelium is cilia, they protect us from the outside pollutants, plus they are cleaning the mucus fluid from there. If there is a damage to the throat cells, the mucus will be deposited in our windpipe. The mucus will be deposited there. They will obstruct, and because of that, we cannot breathe in and breathe out. So there are the two principles. One is the obstruction is here. Another one is there is the hampering of the oxygen and the CO2 transfer at the level of the alveoli. So both the things are making our breathing very, very critical. So ventilator, what the ventilator does, ventilator gives us the breathing at the pressure. So with the pressure, they are giving breathing inside so that the obstruction can be taken care of by the use of the ventilator. So when we talk about the symptomatic treatment in stage 3 and stage 4, the answer is ventilator. That is the external support respiration, positive pressure respiration, PPR. So that positive pressure respiration is needed in stage 3 and stage 4. So that is why we need a ventilator. If we don't have a ventilator, we cannot give the supportive respiration to the patients, and patient will die because of low saturation of the oxygen.
Thank you so much, because I've heard so much about this issue, but from medical point of view, I really didn't understand what is importance of the ventilators. Thank you so much for explaining that.
Yeah, thank you, Sasha. It was a very good question.
Well, and it is, because we need to understand what the treatments are, how they affect us, how they impact us. Are there self-treatments we could do at home? Would the inhalers help people who contracted this disease? That might be something we can do. I've had to use the inhaler many years ago when I had bronchitis. I never had to use it before, but boy, did it open up things for me, calm me down, and help me breathe again. I never, I don't need it all the time, never needed it again, but at that one moment in time when I was sick. So are these things that maybe we can start focusing on in the future?
Yeah.
So, I mean, because we see that there's not enough resources. So home treatment is where this is going to be beneficial, right?
Yeah, it's only the symptomatic treatment which we have. And as we discussed that in stage 3 and stage 4, there is definitely an intensive care unit is needed. And all those intensive care units, we need ventilator and all those things. So that supportive treatment is only available. Isolation is the best. Prevention is always better than the cure.
I don't know if this is happening in India, but we heard stories where they're having to make decisions that are horrifying for doctors: who lives, who dies, who gets the treatment, who will not. Have we seen that in India yet? I know they did in Italy. What about India?
No. Can you please repeat your question? Yeah.
Ankit.
So, sir, yeah. So, I mean, in US, what's happening is that people who are little old, so they are not getting the treatment as compared to people who are young, or maybe there are some differences in choosing that who is the right patient to get the COVID treatment done. But do you think we are something similar in India? Because I don't think so. We are following the same rule.
No,
And we are
one thing. One thing, when we talk about the treatment, we are not biased for anybody, whether on the basis of the age, on the basis of religion, on the basis of severity. So whosoever, according to the guidance, needs intensive care, we are putting those patients in the intensive care unit. Whosoever needs the ventilator, we are giving them the ventilator. So I don't think these type of things are being practiced in India.
Yeah, we don't practice such things basically, and we always welcome, because you won't believe that so many patients have reported for COVID, and we have treated around 20 patients who are not from India. They are from different nationality, and we have treated
Total.
them.
Total. There was 26 patients. 26 patients were the foreigner patients, and other patients they were the Indian patients,
and they all there is equality from international patients. So that is what we have done so far.
Initially, the complete treatment was given to 4 patients in Jaipur. Out of 4, 3 were the Italian patients. And the first patient who was discharged from the hospital with the negative viral load or the low viral load with the negative test for the corona after coming the positive was the Italian patient.
So there was also rumor going around that people who are, who are negative in after the treatment, or they're cured from corona, they won't get the virus effect again because they have that antibodies fighting with the virus, and they can't.
Yes. So our body is the best treatment for everything. We have a lot of immunity. We have all the Department of Defense inside our body. So our Department of Defense is working well. If our immunity is good, then even the mild symptom or the moderate symptoms, they will go without any treatment. And only those patients who are critical, stage 3 and stage 4 for intensive care, only those patients need some supportive treatment. Otherwise, the virus can be destroyed our body. virus is nothing in front of our body. Yeah.
But can the virus disinfect anyone again, or I mean, it's just one of the case?
Sorry.
Can the coronavirus disinfect someone again after the cycle?
Same patient. Same
Yeah,
patient.
same patient.
No, if we have enough antibodies, then there is no chance of another infection.
Not
we
for
talk
a,
about the general.
not for a smaller period of time, maybe for second season or maybe later on as well. I mean, at some point of time, once they lose the antibodies, so there's a chance that they can be more prone to the virus.
So, because we don't have enough literature for coronavirus, if I give you example of smallpox, you have heard about the smallpox. If you have a smallpox infection in your childhood, you cannot have a second smallpox or herpes infection in your whole of your life.
Okay.
So immunity is there because the same is responsible for the smallpox and same is responsible for herpes. So our bodies have a lot of every type of ministers we have. We have defense ministers, so many defense ministers inside. So if our defense ministers they are working well, I think we can fight with any type of the virus.
Okay, that's good.
I agree with you. Yeah, and I think we need to start sharing this worldwide. We need to start sharing the research worldwide, put down our differences, and save the world, not just one place. And what India is doing, the permanent lockdown for 21 days, that's awesome. I think it's going to be. I think it needs to be longer. But I think people can't stand the thought of being isolated anyway. But I think in 21 days we can quickly isolate who has it, who doesn't. Save your homes, clean your homes. Now's the time to spring clean. I don't know what time of year it is in your country, but spring clean. I know people are having their food delivered to their door. Like you said, leave it sitting outside and let the contaminants die away before you bring it in. Let's talk about this. I brought up the raccoons. I noticed the animals are acting really weird lately. I have a lot of nature where I live. And I think I saw the deer standing in the street dancing. Woo-hoo, nobody's going to run over me. But I think nature is affected by this too. I think the animals are like, where are the people? The people are not at the parks feeding the squirrels. And I think nature's going to be impacted.
Something coming from the animal infecting the human body is all because of the nature. All because of the nature.
Right.
Yeah. The species, because of the species jump. Yeah.
But I think nature's feeling our change as well. I think they're going, wow, where's the humans? The cars aren't on the street. The humans are at home. Is there something wrong? Nature reacts to us. We react to nature, right? So we assume this is eugenic.
So Dr. Sabu is leaving because I think it's time the battery is going down. So maybe he'll join next.
So I would thank you very much. Yeah. I would like to mention here one thing while I'm going, that this type of the disaster, we can say this type of the critical situation is there. This is a very scary environment with the peace. It's a peaceful and the scary. I have not seen any other type of the disaster like this. Because if there is a disaster, it is scary and noisy. Lot of noise is there. But this is the only disaster where we are peaceful, we are locked in our houses, and we are scary also.
True.
I agree. We've never seen anything like this in our life. I think the biggest damage is the panic of the people, not so much the just the virus. Thank you, Dr. Sagu, for sharing with us. Be blessings, love and peace to the world.
I would also
love and peace.
Can we invite ma'am as well on the show sometime whenever she's available? She's a cancer surgeon, Dr. Sagu's wife, and she deals with women cancer oncologist treatment. I mean,
she's a surgical oncologist. Yeah, she's a surgical oncologist.
And
But
take care.
I would like to ask you, have you ever seen the movie Contagion? It's a movie by 2011.
Yeah.
About the virus.
It comes so close to describing what's happening now. I just
Yeah.
saw it days ago by advice of my daughter. I was impressed, really, what I saw.
Yeah.
I never seen it before. What about you, Kim and Kit? Have you seen it?
I've seen a lot of them. I made a joke the other day. I don't think people thought it was that great of a joke, but we, you know, a lot of these movies remind me of what we're going through. How people panic can cause more dangerous things to us than the disease itself. But yes, you know, it's very similar. A lot of the movies show us how humans sometimes misreact. I think what we need to do is focus on things like this, communications like this, join hands, don't watch so much TV. That's right, watch.
Join hand. Yeah. Join hands online, not offline. Online we can join. Yeah.
Join hands. You know, this is what I tell Ankit. This is how his daughter needs to learn to date, right?
Yeah.
This is how we date.
Yeah.
This
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kim. It was a very good discussion. And
thank you.
Thanks for making me part of discussion, Kim, Sasha, Ankit.
Thank you very much.
Namaste. Sat Shri Akal.
Stay safe.
Many peace. Take care.
Take care.
Dr. Sakud joining us. I think that there's much to be learned from people all over the world.
Yeah.
Doctors like this that are sharing with us.
So next time I'll make sure that Dr. Sagu will discuss about the HIV patients and how they treat it and what kind of precautions they follow, because I forgot to ask again.
Because history from other panic situations like this can teach us so much. How we overcame it, how we survived it. You know, HIV was the world's most dangerous, still is, diseases. We've had testimony by people who survived it. You have a map up. What is this map about?
So this is the corona outbreak, how it happened, and through a video they've explained that how it's going on. You want me to play the video?
Yes, please. And then we'll sign off after this. Wow. Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Virus. The 2019 novel coronavirus is a newly discovered strain from the coronavirus family that causes respiratory disease. Humans have long been infected by coronavirus, as it is one of those responsible for the common cold. It is a contagious viral infection spread through inhalation or ingestion of viral droplets. As a result, coughing and sneezing and touching infected surfaces are primary sources of infection. The structure of coronavirus has multiple parts. Inside the virus lies the genetic encoding that allows the virus to hijack human cells and turn them into virus factories. A protein encapsulates the genetic material known as the viral envelope. On the surface of the viron are S and HE proteins. The structure of the 2019 novel coronavirus is a mutation. For more information on this, see the link below. The large S glycoproteins are used by the virus to gain entry to human cells. They most likely attach to angiotensin-converting enzyme 2 receptors on the cell membrane, allowing the virus entry. The exact mechanism for this is not known. Most likely, as shown here, the human cell ingests the virus in a process known as endocytosis. Once inside the cytoplasm, the endosome opens to reveal the virus's genetic material, a single-stranded RNA. The virus hijacks the cell's machinery to replicate the RNA in N proteins and uses the endoplasmic reticulum to form its M protein outer layer and the all-important S protein. After replication, the virus is carried by the Golgi body out of the cell in a process known as exocytosis, so that it can infect other cells. Meanwhile, the stress of viral production on the endoplasmic reticulum eventually leads to apoptosis, or cell death. It should be noted that the mechanism of action for 2019 novel coronavirus is unknown. However, scientists in China have sequenced the genome, while others have used the sequencing to visualize the structure. There is currently no cure or vaccine for the 2019 novel coronavirus, and treatment is only supportive. Therefore, preventing transmission is paramount. As an airborne virus, recommended precautions are similar to those for preventing the flu. This includes washing hands regularly with soap and water for 20 seconds, covering sneezes and coughs with the inside of the elbow, refraining from touching high contact surfaces like railings and doorknobs. If you use tissues, throw them away immediately. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. For more info on precautions and best practices, see the list of references below. The pandemic risk of the novel coronavirus is very real. However, biology has advanced greatly in the 15 years since SARS, and so has communication between biologists and governments. China has taken monumental efforts to contain the spread of the virus. Also, some existing and experimental drugs are offering hope for treating the infection and improving outcomes. But even still, infection control habits remain paramount if humanity is to stave off a full pandemic. For further information, see the resources listed here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is probably, what is the link to that?
I'll share that YouTube link with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a very profound link.
So this is, I got it from a friend of mine, and I'll need to check. This is through some medical council. I mean, they have done some study, and then on the basis of that, they have shared this link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you post it? And then we'll have our ambassador get on to give us our social manners and sign off.
I'll just do it.
I know we've got so many tools, people. There are so many things out there that we can be doing. GoToMeeting has stepped up to the plate, and they're giving a lot of tools to the social needs for people to get the message out, to stay at home and work. So GoToMeeting has stepped up to the plate to give a lot of resources to doctors, hospitals, schools for education. Stay at home, call the doctor, use your phone. Stay at home, use your phone. We need that, people. Stay at home and call your family, your physician, your teacher. There's no need to be out. No need. If somebody delivers food to your house, put it in a locked container so the raccoons don't get it, and let it sit outside until the disease has time to die. They're saying overnight. There's so many ways. Cook your food all the way. This is something we've heard from the beginning of this virus. Cook your food all the way. There are just so many things that we need to be doing and practices we need to get back to. Anyway, so that was a profound YouTube that if you can get to it, we'll try to post it where you can, but it was a great video on what the coronavirus is, how it spread, and how it will continue to spread. Let's see, I'm trying to get this onto a banner. People have to understand, Ankit and I were running the panel by ourselves.
Yeah.
This is the YouTube, so you can go to YouTube and watch this on how this started, what it is. Dr. Sagu even said it's a spiky virus that gets in your body. When I think of it, I think of these pesky little nasty things. It tears the insides of the lungs. It will leave them looking like a honeycomb. You can find this on National Geographic. Everything that he shared with us is on National Geographic article. Google it. What does coronavirus do to my body? What does it do to my body? So let's see our ambassador, and then we'll sign off. Here she is, folks. Our new social manners ambassador.
हैंड होकर ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी ऐसे करेंगे अच्छू अच्छू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक सुनने का। कोरोना वायरस से कैसे बचेंगे? हैंड होकर और ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी ऐसे करेंगे अच्छू अच्छू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक सुनने का।
And namaste to you, and many blessings for a brighter future. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you much for joining us.
Stay calm and stay at home.
Stay calm, stay at home. That's right. That's the message we're getting from the doctors. Save a doctor, stay at home. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Take care.
All right.